And so this week I have the Sandman. I watched this a little while ago, a couple weeks ago, I think. I was actually supposed to do this on another podcast, but I'll go ahead and knock this out right here. Yeah, so this is available on Netflix. It had like 10 episodes to it, and then they added like an extra episode to it. It's like a two-parter. It's starring Tom Sturridge as the Sandman. Yeah, it has the Netflix treatment. They put a ton of money into it, ton of production into it. Yeah, it's fantasy. It's kind of like dark fantasy. They spent the appropriate amount of effort to make sure it looks pretty good. It looks pretty sleek and like fantastical. I'm not that familiar with the Sandman comics, like the graphic novels. I haven't gotten to that yet, but I'm very familiar with John Constantine, who is in that realm. He's in that kind of DC Comics, Vertigo comics like realm. So the only times I really like read anything like in comics with the Sandman, it was in a John Constantine comic because he like met up with him, or he was in that issue or whatever for some reason. And so Tom Sturridge as the Sandman, I don't know if he's powerful or how powerful he could be. Because he, like, right off the break, he gets captured. Like, so how powerful can the Lord of Dreams be if he can be captured by a regular dude? You know what I mean? I wouldn't actually say he's like weak or anything, but he does seem a little bit aloof at times. And just kind of like, I, I don't know if it's gonna be a pun, but just kind of like sleepwalking through some of it a little bit. Every time he really kind of like bows up or gets serious or like fearsome is when somebody like messes up, or he has to come down hard on one of the characters or something like that. Yeah, he's not all that menacing. To me, at least, he wasn't like menacing or anything like that. And when he puts on his serious face, when come down hard on a character because they didn't follow the rules or they did something, his serious face, pretty comical in a way, because it just it just reminds me of like another movie I've seen. It always like he's playing another movie kind of. It looks like he's doing the Zoolander face to me for some reason, and I can't like right there, like that looks pure. You get. And yeah, that kind of took me out of it a little bit. It was a little bit, but like every time he got that serious face on, and he's like talking like real sternly, I was just like, oh, like we in Zoolander again. We in Zoolander 3. Overall, he did a pretty good job. I'm just being dumb, but no, honestly, like most of the time, I'm like, why is he making that face? Like he's doing the Zoolander face again. I would say the casting is on point. To me, the villains are the best part of the show. We have like a lot of really good heavy hitters. Like Charles Dance is in the first one. David Thewlis is in like the second one. Gwendolyn Christie, Brienne of Tyen, or whatever that was in Game of Thrones, and they're all playing like the villains. They're all playing like the heels in this. Knock it out of the park. And I say like the first part and the second part, because this show is constructed differently, kind of. So it's not just most of their shows, like from episode 1 to 10, they're like a straightforward narrative. It's very faithful to the comics in the sense that it's broken up into like different stories. The 2 episodes would be like this, 2.5 episodes would be this story, and then it'll transition into like the next story in the next 2.5 episodes, and like so forth and so on. They're being super faithful to the comics, to like the original story in the comics, and so and it plays out like comic books, because comic books go on like different stories and different characters and different plots and things like that as the issues go on. And I like that. Like I think I kind of want all the rest of the comic book shows to kind of be like that. You can kind of ruin it's like shows or comic book like shows or movies because you're trying to stretch out this one plot point, so the fit. We got to fill 8 episodes. We got to fill 8 hours. So we got to do like all one big narrative and stuff. But no, break it up, man. Break it up. chop it up. We can handle this one. This like plot is here. The next plot is in the next step. The way they did it, especially because they did have like a character appear here and then they'll come back through here just to kind of like chain to like connect all the stories, if that makes sense. And I know it's not like a one-to-one or like apples to apples comparison, but like just off the top of the head, Moon Knight on Disney Plus definitely should have had like this format, because oh my god, that show, they just stretched it out on this one plot. They just stretched it out so long, and it was just, man, come on, man, just move it. All right, yes. So my standouts on the show, some of my favorite aspects of it was, she's played by Kirby Howell Baptiste. Yeah, she actually knocked it out the park. She's just drop dead gorgeous in this too. That didn't hurt. You know what I'm saying? But there is a lot of controversy. Again, as always, with people changing races of characters, changing genders. In this case, they kind of changed the race. She's supposed to be like this very like really pale goth white chick, which I kind of get the aesthetic, because this is it's a Neil Gaiman like written story, so it's going to have like this very kind of like goth ethos to it. I've known of the Sandman for years, and he's always had this kind of goth kind of like a palette to him. But I think they did it, because I mean, hey, we could be goth too, you know what I mean? So I think they did a pretty good job with that. There's some purists out there that want to see like, they want to see it exactly how it was in the comics back in like the 90s, but you can't please everybody. She came in, she was amazing in this, knocked it out the park. They brought in Mark Hamill. Mark Howell. Who is that? Mark Hamill came in and did the voice for this guy. Yeah, I don't even know who he's. I just call him the pumpkin guy. I don't even know who he is. So it was just distinct enough to where you kind of like, wait a minute, is that? And then until like this at the end where you see Mark Hamill, I'm like, okay, it was Mark Hamill. Okay. I wasn't lunching, I wasn't tripping, but okay. Patton Oswalt, one of my favorites, one of my absolute favorites. Patton Oswalt was in here. He was playing the Raven. He did the voice of the Raven, Matthew. To me, he always kind of elevates the levity of anything he's in, like up a couple of notches. And yeah, I really liked him in this. He was really cool. Anytime I see any of my Doctor Who people in different shows and stuff like that, I have to shout them out. The Jenna Coleman, Jenna Coleman was actually in the same Doctor Who series as Matt Smith from House of the Dragon on HBO Max right now. So yeah, shout out to Matt Smith, killing it over there. Yeah, I had to give out a special shout out to her. She's playing Joanna Constantine. Is she a descendant of John Constantine? I'm not sure. I don't think they explained it. I don't know this character that much. I know John Constantine definitely, because I actively read Hellblazer now. Yeah, but I've never heard of her before this show, so I don't know if it's just a gender swap, or maybe she might be an actual character in the comics. I don't know, but I was just happy to see her. So yeah, shout out to all my Doctor Who fans out there, with my favorite Doctor, by the way, Matt Smith, my absolute favorite Doctor to this day. But so Sandman, out of 5, I give it a 4. It's pretty solid. I pretty much would watch this again. I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up watching it again at some point. But this is too much fantasy going on now. This House of the Dragon, there's Rings of Power going right now. I definitely would watch it again, but it won't be no time soon. So, but yeah, Sandman, 4 out of 5. Really liked it. Solid show.